neutrons. It's true. And yet, in this understanding, the concept of water dissolves. You getting it? Okay. If you want to enjoy water, don't look at it through electron microscope. Look at it through your naked eyes. You just enjoy, finish. Don't try to go deeper. Don't try to go closer. If you go closer with the electron microscope, the water you will never find the water. You will just end up finding electrons, protons, neutrons. You getting it? Okay. So with this, what's the difference? Say group A, group B. Group A looks at it through your naked eyes. Group B looks at it through electron microscope. Okay, group A, what is this? Water. Group B, what is this? Bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. Right? Okay. Do you agree with me or not? This flower, by the way, how many of you love flowers? Not necessarily crazy about the flowers, but how many of you love flowers? Crazy is also fine, but who love flowers? Raise hands. Okay, many of you love flowers. Okay, you look at this flower, you enjoy this or not? You enjoy this flower. Imagine you are looking at the same object which makes you feel the joy. You look at the same object through an electron microscope. You will see a bunch of atoms. Would you imagine that you will have the same enjoyment? No. You're getting it? So look, with your naked eyes, you see a flower and the corresponding emotional state is very enjoyable. You look at the electron microscope, you will see there's a bunch of atoms and the joy disappears. Right? You agree with me? Good. Okay, this object, does it give you joy or not? Huh? Okay, you look at this through your naked eyes. Tell me, do you feel joy in looking at this object? Do you feel joyful? Yes. Why do you feel joyful? Huh? Why? Because it is beautiful. Yes? Because this object is very beautiful, this flower is very beautiful. Which flower? In your eyes or that flower? Okay, in your eyes or that flower? In your eyes. Your eyes. Then people should look at your eyes. Right? Which means that it is there. It's there. It is there. Okay. Now what is important is that the moment what you are enjoying is the flower. The flower does it exist? Yes. The flower which makes you happy. The flower exists or not? Yes. Okay, most of you seems to be going to emptiness now. Yes. No, here, speak. The flower which makes you happy, does it exist or not? Yes. Huh? Yes. Depends. You go home and then, hey, my mother exists or not? Depends. Right? My house exists or not? Israel exists or not? Depends. My house exists or not? Depends. Is that what I'm saying? People may think that going to Monash, something's wrong with you. Right? Don't say depends. The flower which makes you happy, does it exist or not? Yes. Let us not forget these two basic premises. The first one is, do things exist? What is the answer? Yes. Let us not forget this. Yes, things exist. The flower exists. Okay. Now, the moment you go into the atoms on the atomic level, what happens to the flower? The flower concept dissolves. The flower concept dissolves. It breaks down. The flower concept dissolves. You getting it? Okay. With this, what I'm saying, what we need to know is that this object, if you like to enjoy this as a flower, don't look at through electron microscope. Look at through your naked eyes. If you want to enjoy the electrons, protons, neutrons, don't enjoy with your naked eyes. Enjoy with the electron microscope. You're getting it? Which means that Okay, these are the same object, two different objects, the flower or the bunch of atoms. Two different objects or the same object? Same object. It's the same object, but then how come that you are seeing two different things? How come the description is very different? Why? Very quick. One said it's a flower, one said no, it's a bunch of atoms. Why the description is very different?
The eyes that are looking.
Okay, not the eyes. Perception. Perception is different. There are two different perceptions taking place. Why there are two different perceptions taking place? Yes, again?
Oh, sorry. One through the eye and one through the microscope.
Okay.
Cognitive process. Cognitive.
Okay, there are two different perceptions because there are two different cognitive processes. Two different cognitive processes. Okay, in simple terms, right? In simple terms, we can say there are two different perceptions taking place. One is beautiful flower. One is very boring atoms. Right? Two different perceptions taking place because you are looking at the same object by two different agents. One is the naked eyes and one is the electron microscope. You're using two different subjective agents. So these two agents are the subject or the object? Hey, the subject. So now from this what we learned is that the same object is seen in two different ways because of the two different subjects. Object is the same, subject is different. You're getting it? It's the two different subjects, but the object remains the same. Subject is two. Okay. Now from this what we are going to learn is a subject which is employed to see this as a flower. And the other subject which makes you to see this as a non-flower. Non-flower means empty of being a flower. Right? When you look at the electron microscope, do you see the flower? No. What happens to the flower? No, very well. Look, it's just a bunch of atoms. There's no flower. With respect to you, there's no flower. With respect to you, with respect to the electron microscope, there's no flower. It doesn't mean the flower is not there. Flower does exist. Flower does exist, not with respect to the electron microscope. So from this what we can say is that when does this object appear as a flower to you? When you look at through which subject? Naked eyes. So that naked eyes is what we call as the conventional analysis. Conventional analysis. Whereas the same object, you look at through electron microscope, you see the absence of the flower. The flower disappears. It's a bunch of atoms. The flower is not there. So this is what we call as the ultimate analysis. Ultimate analysis. Conventional analysis and ultimate. And I know that some people who are already exposed to this concept a little more, you have many questions. Hold these questions for the time being. Hold these questions for the time being. I'm deliberately asking you to hold the questions to help the newcomers. You getting it? Okay, let them flow with us. And then in the end we'll have question answers. I know you have many questions. Okay, so from this what we learned is that how we see the object, whether we see the object as a flower or whether we see the object as the absence of flower, it depends on the subject. Which subject you use to look at the object. If you use the conventional analysis as a subject, like your naked eyes, you will see the flower. If you look at the same flower, if you use the ultimate analysis, like the electron microscope, to look at the object, you will see the absence of the flower. The flower is empty. This is what you find. You get it? Could you follow till this point? Now you follow this point, then I will go to the next point, which is very important. Object which is seen by the conventional analysis is known as the conventional truth. Okay, which is the truth? Tell me. The flower or the absence of flower? Which is the truth? Huh?
Flower.
No, not the absence of flower. Okay. My question to you is, what I've been drinking, is this water or H2 or electron, protons, neutrons? All three. All three, right? Okay, all three are correct. Likewise, seeing this as a flower with respect to the conventional analysis, seeing this as the absence of flower with respect to ultimate analysis, both are correct. Both are correct. Okay. Now, if both are correct, when you look at this as a flower, and when you look at this as absence of flower, which will give you the feeling of appeal? When you see this as a flower, you getting it? Huh? Okay, what if it's the case? Now, when you see somebody, right, who's a little provocative, irritating, right? Okay, little irritating, and okay, which way do you like to see that person? Through naked eyes or through electron microscope? Through electron microscope, then the irritation dissolves, right? Then the one who's irritating is not there, right? It's just a bunch of atoms. Who cares? Whereas if you look at the naked eyes, then the irritation arises in you, right? Okay. So that the point is what? The point is that the same object can be. What is this object? Is this flower? Hey, it is the flower.
Yes.
Is this non-flower?
Yes.
Okay, in this hall is fine. When you go out, please don't say this. Is this mug? Yes. Is this non-mug? Yes. Are we in Israel? Yes. Are we non-Israel? Yes. Right? People will surely think that something is wrong. Right? Okay, don't say this. Keep this inside this hall. Okay, now tell me, what is this object? Flower?
Yes.
Non-flower?
Yes.
No, this is not non-flower. Which perception is correct? Both are correct, which means it's non-flower also. Okay, in this hall is fine. This flower? Yes. This non-flower? Yes. Okay. So,
Why?
why what?
Why it's not a flower?
Why is not a flower? Okay, because, okay, what made you see this? Why? Okay, tell me. Those who said this is a flower as non-flower, I know what you are saying. What you are saying is a very profound concept. Those who said that this is a flower as a non-flower, why did you say that it's a flower? With respect to conventional analysis, naked eyes. What made you to say that this is not flower? With respect to ultimate analysis. You're getting it? Ready now? You want to jump to the next point? Ready? Okay. Which means that this is a flower or not flower is determined by the subject. Right? This flower with respect to the ultimate analysis as a subject, no, conventional analysis subject. This non-flower with respect to the ultimate analysis as a subject. You getting it? Okay, now my question to you is, get rid of the two subjects. Get rid of the two subjects. What is this? Huh? Flower is with respect to the conventional analysis subject. I said remove that subject.
Somebody who doesn't know about convention.
No, my question is remove the two subjects. What is this?
Phenomenon.
Just feel free to give your answer. I'm not going to scold you. Okay. What you said is that this is in a flower because of the conventional analysis as a subject, naked eyes. If you're not looking at through naked eyes, you're not going to see this as a flower. So this object makes sense as a flower only with respect to the conventional analysis. You remove the conventional analysis. You see this non-flower with respect to the ultimate analysis, electron microscope and so forth. Remove that. What is this? Remove the two subjects. Remove the two subjects. What is this object? Okay, raise hands. Give me an answer. Raise hands. Nothing. Here, this girl.
We can't give a definition of alkaline analysis. It's something that we can't define.
Oh, there's something. Okay, there's something there. But let us not forget. Let us not miss those answers. Different answers given to us, they are very helpful. You're getting it? And meanwhile, whatever answer that you give, whatever answer that you're hearing somebody else giving, don't think that that is the answer. You're getting it? Just let us not miss those answers. Those answers would be very helpful to let us discover the reality. You're getting it? What is your name? Metal. What Metal said is that something is there. Something is there. It may not be flower. It may not be non-flower. It's fine. Something is there. Anyone else? What is there? After we remove the two subjects. Yes, over there.
Form. Shape.
The shape is there. Shape is seen with respect to the conventional analysis. Remove the conventional analysis. What is there?
We don't know.
Huh?
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay. We don't know because?
Because we're empty.
Huh?
We don't see it.
Because of emptiness. It's emptiness you know. If you know emptiness, you know that. It's not that you don't know. You know that.
We don't have
no
any
name for it.
Okay, we have no name for it. But something is there.
Something's there.
Okay. So, what is your name? Metal. And your name?
Michael.
Michael and Metal, they came to the same point. Something is there. We don't have a name to this. Very good. Anyone else? Okay, when I say very good, it may not be very, very good. Right? Very good means, okay, be alert. This is my point. It doesn't mean very, very good. Yes?
We don't have any expression how to describe it,
Okay.
how to measure it. If we don't choose a way how to measure it.
If you don't choose a way, if you don't choose a subject to look at the object, there's no way by which to get to the object. So what really, there's an object makes no sense. Is what I'm saying? Or there's something there, but we have no means to describe what that is. Okay, so three are coming to the same point. Something's there, right? We have no means to get there. Very good. Anyone else? Anyone else? What is there? Discard the two means, subjective, to discard the two subjects. Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. What is there? Is my question. Anybody?
Everything.
Huh?
Everything.
This is chocolate? It's chocolate?
It's all like the same material.
Okay. So, okay, there's some material there. Again, something is there. Okay, Metal. What Metal said like the preamble. Everybody is holding to that point. Something is there. Okay, over there.
It's a matter of perception.
Okay, it's just a perception. Beyond the perceptions, nothing is there. It's a matter of just perception. Okay, this is also very good. Over there?
I can't tell. Maybe there's something there, maybe there's not. I cannot tell. I'm not sure that there is something there. I can't tell.
Okay, there may be something. There may not be something. I can't tell.
I can't tell.
A phenomena, which is comes from very different parts or things, but the way that the subject looks at it also affects the phenomena.
Okay, so the way we look at it, the parts are there. But the way you look at it, sometimes we see it's a flower, sometimes we say it's non-flower, but the parts are there, is what I'm saying?
And even me looking at the flower changes.
Even me, as the subject looking at it, can
so when
alter.
I don't look at it, it's
Wonderful, amazing. Okay, this is very important. Why this question is raised is because, say, what is really there? What is really there? Okay, let's say, I'll give you one example. See, we are gazing, group A and group B, we are gazing at the open space. Open space. Say we just go into the space through the spacecraft, space shuttle. We go into the space, right? And then where the light is there, the way we see the sky, like this, we can see the vast expanse of the sky there. And then I'll say the okay. Some people, the group A looks at this vast expanse of the sky through the pink glasses, and group B looks at it through blue glasses. Okay, I asked, what is the air? Group A, how would you describe it? Oh, pink space. Hey, group B, what is the air? Oh, blue space. You're getting it? This is how you describe it. What is really the air? What is really the air? Just an empty space there. There's no pink, there's no blue there. Just an empty space there. Your perception affects what you're seeing, right? Your perception affects what it's seeing, right? If the perception is taken away, it's just an empty space there. Okay, now, okay, what we discussed, for example, let's say this flower. Is this a flower or not? Yes, this is a flower, right? Okay, when you go into detail, how this is a flower, which part of the atom is the flower, you go in that level, the concept of flower disappears. You getting it? Okay, now, which means that the flower makes sense only when you employ the conventional analysis. Conventional analysis is subject or the object? It's the subject. You have to remain on some level of the subject. Object is the same. Whether it's a flower, absence of flower, whatever is the same. But with the subject, then it alters. When you sit on a conventional analysis, you see this as a flower. When somebody says this is not a flower, you're wrong. You getting it? With the naked eyes, you see this as a flower. Somebody says this is not a flower. This is a white flower. You say that no, you're wrong. With the conventional analysis. So what we discover is that what we see is just the perception. Just perception. From the object, nothing's really there. Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, let's say to make it more easy, say this same flower, this flower, the picture, the tiny picture, this flower, let's say it's a small picture, tiny picture. These photographs are made of pixels. You get with me? These photographs are made of pixels. And there's another version. These photographs can be made of dots. Both systems are there. One is made of pixels, one is made of dots. If it is made of dots, if you say what is the resolution of this picture, we talk about the DPIs. DPI, dots per inch. So, say the pictures, for example, the picture of the flower or the picture of anything, picture of the flower, very tiny picture, to see it visibly as a picture, as a flower, minimum we need like 200 dpi's. We need 200 dpi. 200 dpi means 200 dots vertically, 200 dots horizontally. 200 dots horizontally, 200 dots vertically. This is what is required in it. Which means 40,000 dots. 40,000 dots per inch is required to have the visible picture of a flower or visible picture of a person. Now, if this same picture, anyway, 200 dpi is a very poor resolution, but still the picture is visible. So this picture, if you are to blow this up, enlarge this, like 20 feet by 20 feet. If the same tiny picture is to be enlarged 20 feet by 20 feet, what happens? That the dots inside, the gap between the dots will become larger. The distance between the dots become bigger. You agree with me? Okay. Now the same picture of the flower, if you develop it to like 20 feet per 20 feet, huge size. If you go like 1 kilometer away, you see that as a beautiful picture of a flower. If you go close by, what do you see? You see just dots. That's it. You don't see the flower. Okay, now tell me. The flower, how does it appear to you? Does it appear to you like how your mind is projecting it? Or it is not projected by my mind, it's really there. How does the flower appear to you? It's really there. Now, because you're already exposed to objective, subjective, I'd like to put it very technically. How does the flower appear to you? Objectively existent or subjectively existent? Very good. It appears as objectively existent. If it does exist objectively, we should be able to find this closer we go to this object. You getting it? If the mirage were to be water, why not we see the water as we go closer towards the mirage? So what I said this morning, if you see me in the water from 1 kilometer away from me, if you see me in the water, how would you cross-check that I'm in the water, or what are you seeing as mirage? How do you cross-check that? You will come closer. Likewise, if the flower does exist objectively, then you should, how do you evaluate that? You should go closer towards the flower. Go closer to the flower, which is closer, your naked eyes or the electron microscope? Electron microscope is much closer, right? If it does exist objectively, it must be at least seen by the electron microscope. But the moment it reaches the level of the electron microscope perception, the flower dissolves. The flower is no more there. Right? So, which means that what you see as a flower makes sense only with respect to the conventional analysis, the naked eyes. You agree with me? Okay. From this, what we get a feeling is that what is really there is a bunch of atoms. That's it. And then from distance I see it's a flower. Close by there's no flower. It's just a perception. It's just a perception. Okay, how many of you get some feeling that yes, it's just a perception. It's just like a perception. Okay, it may not be too clear, but still, how many of you are getting closer towards this conclusion? Yes, it's a perception. Raise your hands. Okay, very good. If it has not happened to you now, what I would suggest is that study more of this, reflect more, this conclusion will come to you. And this conclusion will be incredibly beneficial. Particularly, say, what we dislike finally, whether we see as a flower or not flower, it doesn't matter. Finally, our tension must go down. Yes, no? When we confront with challenges, tragedies of life, you should not be in shock, right? You should not be in shock. You should not become hysterical. You should not become paranoid. You agree with me? How many of you don't want to go through these processes? Becoming paranoid, the word traumatic. How many of you don't want to go through these? You see, only one. Others feel it like a different. Okay, we all don't want to go through it. If you don't want to go through these processes, what makes us to go through this process is seeing things solidified. Seeing things as real. Right? When will the dream affect you? In the dream or outside the dream? In the dream. You're getting it? So therefore, when will things affect you with trauma and so forth? Is when you solidify things. See the dream as real. So now with this analysis, how things are just mere perception. Beyond perception, there's nothing really there as a particular object. When this conviction becomes deeper, then the effect will be felt and the shock will be much less. And depending on how stable your experience is, that determines how stable is your mind when in a situation of, say, the traumatic situation. Okay. So with this, what we are saying is that we see this a flower, non-flower, all these things are determined by the subject. Independent of the subject, what is really there makes no sense. To see the flower, it makes no sense. Independent of the mind, we see the flower, which means that what we are seeing is purely subjective. The movie makes sense only if the projector is there. The movie makes sense only if the projector is there. The moment the projector shuts down, the movie stops. You agree with me? Likewise, everything what we see as a flower, the house, monarch, beautiful weather, so forth, they make sense only with respect to the convention.